fee's still $60, but hasn't got doubled or anything.
Okay. Today is September 14th, 2021. Welcome to the Community Events Civic Awards Advisory Committee meeting. Call the meeting to order at 4:35. I'm looking for approval of the agenda of September 14th, 2021. Murray made the motion, second by Councillor Rowley. All in favor? Approved.
Just one comment.
Yeah.
I was just going to suggest maybe, because Amy, this is her first meeting, if everybody introduce themselves to the new member.
Okay. It's just brought to my attention that we do have a new member here, and can you see us, Amy?
Yep, I can see everybody.
Okay. My name is Lloyd Hutchison. I'm the chair, and we'll go to my right, and I'll let everyone introduce themselves to you.
Hi, Amy. Mark Bateman, one of the counselors.
I'm Murray Crapper, just a local resident.
Hi, Amy. My name is Phil Pike.
Hi, Amy. Emily Rowley, also a counselor for the municipality.
And we have a Zoom member. Go ahead, Ryan.
Hi, Amy. I'm Ryan Pierce. I'm a local resident of Brighton.
And I believe that's all the members we have one more. Has Tom Rittrich signed in? Okay.
Sorry, he hasn't. He had responded that he would be phoning in if he could.
Okay. All right. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for that, Counselor. Now we'll move on to number 3, declaration of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof. I'm looking for any. I do not see any. Okay, number 4, approval of the minutes of May 18th, 2021. Everyone have a chance to read them? Yeah, we have since May. I have a motion to accept them by Councillor Bateman, second by,
I'll second it, Lloyd.
okay, thanks, Ryan. All in favor? Carried. Delegations, I see none. Reports. Reports from staff regarding protocols and restrictions provided by the health unit for events such as what we'll be talking about, Santa Claus Parade. Jim Miller, are you there?
Jim hasn't signed in, and Jim Smith again is going to be late. So
Okay.
we might need to skip over that one.
Okay, we'll come back to that when Jim Miller comes back. We'll go to number 7.1. And we're looking at the budget. It's on the very back page of your minutes. Every year we have to prepare a budget and send it to council. And this year there's no changes, same as last year. Do we have any questions? Councillor Rowley?
Thank you, Lloyd. Just looking at the list of events that we usually work with, wondering if, are we going to, oh no, never mind. It's okay. I see that's revenue. I was going to say if there was any allotted monies for civic awards, but I see that that was revenue that's written there. Sorry. So I'm assuming that the monies that for civic awards or whatever are probably captured in something else.
Promotions, I see.
Okay.
And then if you go down to miscellaneous, that's where movies in the parks were.
Okay,
So I see that's just been changed, but it still refers to that.
okay. So if we were able to host some of these events, particularly Civic Awards, because we usually do that in the spring if we do it, right?
Right.
There would be monies in the budget already. for that.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Every year there's that amount put in, but we are not able to put any in reserves. Okay. Any other questions?
Lloyd, I believe Amy's got a question. She's got her hand up.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Amy.
Thank you so much. So just getting used to the structure of how the budget is, I just had a few questions. The Canada expenditures, is that is that for Canada Day? Like, I'm just trying to understand which is for which, because there's no notes or anything to them. So I don't
Yeah.
know. It's my first time at the committee.
Okay, as you go down, it tells you what the money is for. And for Canada Day, it's for all the events that take place on Canada Day. Such as we have fireworks, we have,
Sorry, am I missing? Oh, I only have under the agenda, I simply have the agenda and then the minutes from the last one, and then the budget. It says Community Events Advisory Committee 2021 budget, but it doesn't have any notes. So,
you
so
keep- can you keep scrolling?
there's nowhere else to scroll. I don't have any other, so I'm not sure if I'm missing something.
Okay, so do you have in front of you the actual budget with numbers?
Yeah, I have the actual Community Events Committee Advisory budget. It says federal grant, which is in the
Yes.
red right now for $6,325. Transfers from reserve, nothing. Canada Day revenue, nothing. Civic Awards revenue, nothing. Concerts in the Park is in red at the moment. And then as you move down, it says Canada expenditures. Is that for Canada Day?
Yeah,
Is that
yes,
the
it
budget for
is.
Canada Day?
It's for
and it-
Canada Day, and we have written down what events take place to make those expenditures.
So right underneath the concerts in the park is part of Canada Day? Because I don't like, am I not?
No, concerts in the park is separate.
Okay, so I'm not sure, but was there an addendum that was, because I'm looking at the blue link under 7.1 under business. I go to community budget, the committee budget, and it simply shows me a one pager. So if there's another page with more detailed expenditures, I did not receive it.
No, all this gives you where the money goes towards, and then we figure out what to do with it for that event.
I understand. So I'm asking Canada expenditures. Is that for Canada Day?
Yes,
Okay. And then as we get closer to that event, then we'll get a more detailed budget
Yes.
from us. So right now we're approving $16,850 for Canada Day. And then as we get closer, will this committee be dealing with that in terms of how that money is allocated?
Yes, we have people that come to it every year that do certain events, such as the bouncers, petting farms, with the tent rental. We have all those items that we will be discussing and getting for Canada Day.
Okay. I'm just used to when I've been on other committees and stuff that usually there's notes. And I'm just not sure if maybe like when you get a budget to approve, usually it has a breakout of each of those lines. So you know where things are going. So I'm just not sure if I had missed something.
No, we just have it here. And then when it comes time to do it, we figure out what events take place that day, what the budget we have.
Okay, and then so the promotions portion, the $2,000 promotion is for promotion of all the events that are underneath it, or is that separate and apart?
That was changed from movies in the park to promotion.
And what would we be promoting? We're promoting these individual events?
This is the first I've seen that. Last year we had movies in the park,
Okay,
so it got changed.
I think promotions are probably advertising for the whole.
I understand, it's advertising though for the whole thing, so it's for the Sports Hall of Fame, it's for the entire committee budget for, or does each of these budgets, Sports Hall of Fame, Canada expenditures, concerts in the park, Santa Claus parade, do each of those have their own promotions? And this is just general promotions of the committee?
Yes,
Yes, to which answer?
so that each one has their own promotion. So when you look across for Santa Claus parade, that's 5,400, I believe it is, expenditures, and that's what we spend on for Santa Claus parade up to that.
Okay, so the promotions line of the budget is simply promotions for this committee?
Yes,
Okay.
Councillor
Okay, thank-
Riley.
Thanks, Lloyd. If I could just maybe give another little explanation, Amy. These numbers are based on this last year's budget of a 0% increase based on 2020 or 2019. Because of COVID, we didn't really do anything. So we really don't have any extra detail this year, as we up until now haven't been able to host any events. So my guess is that these are just general tallies from last year, and council kind of requested most of the committees based on COVID last year and budget restraints that we stay at 0. So these numbers are based on last year's budget. And like I say, as far as there's not a whole lot of itemization because we weren't able to do anything. So as we meet early in the new year, as you kind of alluded to, there will be breakouts as how these numbers are spent. But we're just working in a generalized budget right now, because like I say, we have nothing to go to look back on from 2020 and 2021. So as the new year starts, and I think once again, once council starts their budget deliberations, I'm sure that we will come back once again with a request for a 0 increase based on constraints. However, this committee, I believe we also have monies in reserve in case. These are just kind of general numbers. We do have a reserve account as well, specifically for community events, that if some of these, if some of our numbers go over and above, we do have monies to pull from. So like I say, once we really get into the meat and potatoes of this, come January, February, we can, these line items will have more of a breakout.
So right now, this budget that we're requesting is basically our ask of council, and then council will make the decision on the budget, and then that budget will come back to us in the new year to break down.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then so the concerns are if COVID is still happening, if we need to have extra money for COVID protocols and other things, then we will.
There are some monies to play with, like I say, as far as reserve contributions go. And we need to seek approval from council to withdraw those monies out of reserves. But this is basically just to plug a number into council's budget for this year, based on having done nothing this year other than spending the federal grant, which we received, as you can read in the minutes, just $2,000 this year, which we used for a little bit of Canada Day stuff downtown, decorating and things like that. There was minimal done because of COVID.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, we'll be Looking for someone to make a move on this and a seconder. So we send this to council. Phil? Second by Councillor Rowley. All in favor? Carried. Okay. that's-
Lloyd, now might be a good time to go back to Jim.
Yep.
To get him to give his report.
Okay, our fire chief walked in and we're gonna go back to 6.1. Reports on staff regarding protocols and restrictions on the health unit for outside events. Do you like to speak on that, chief? I'll work with you.
Yeah, it's a moving target. We try to keep up to date on all the protocols. Right now, up until the 22nd, for outside events in public places, it's 100 people maximum. For non-public places, such as movie theaters, concert halls, that sort of thing, it's up to 75% based on spacing, masking, all those requirements that need to be in place. Now, at the 22nd of September, government has introduced vaccine passports. Vaccination records have to be produced before entering into these venues. So it's going to throw a whole lot of disarray into a lot of other things as well. So right now, what we're looking at from a public event point of view is 100 people maximum, and also the vaccine passports need to be produced to enter those particular venues.
That's after the 22nd.
Of September.
Okay.
Sorry, Amy, I saw your hand up there.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, thank you. It's different when you're not in the actual meeting. In terms of the vaccine passports, has there been anything said whether or not if concerts, vaccine passports are needed? So if we were doing a concert in the park, would we have to verify everyone's vaccination status? And would that change the number of people that can be at the park?
Right now, as I understand it, it will not change the number of people, but it will change the people have to produce some sort of paperwork to say that they have their second vaccine, but they'd also still have to be masked and be spaced.
And is there anything in terms of the municipality that for our committees that we're responsible for ensuring that that's produced, or is that something that comes from your department?
That would be each individual event sponsor or committee group that's in charge of those would have to be in charge of looking after, excuse me, making sure that people are vaccinated and spaced and masked.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, just to add on that, I did speak to a gentleman at the health unit as well, MD, I'm gonna have to spell his last name, AZUD. I had quite a chat with this gentleman. He's up on it. Jim Miller asked me to talk to him, and he said the same thing. Santa Claus parade, he said, unless you can space them out, absolutely no. And he said, that's right across Ontario. So that's what he was saying on that. If you can spread them out 6 feet, or unless they're family together, you cannot do it. Coming right from them. So any other questions on this? Go ahead.
Thank you.
Counselor.
Is that subject to change maybe? I'm hopeful that I'm very hopeful that we're going to get past this mess and maybe we can still do something.
We'll talk about that.
In the next part?
Yeah.
Okay, then thank you very much, Lloyd.
Yeah. So what he did say, he has Jim Miller's number and my number, and if things change, he will phone us immediately. And we can go ahead with it. So I just wanted to put that out there before we went on to 7.2. So we're all clear on that. We don't need a motion for that, do we? No. Okay. Seeing no other questions, we'll go to 7.2. Possibility of Santa Claus parade. We just heard that cannot do it at this time. And so we'll have to wait and see, but at this point, I would say from what we heard, no. And if we skip right to 7.3, alternatives. Yes, go ahead there. Amy, is it Amy?
Yes, thank you. I was just, for alternatives, I did have some suggestions when it's appropriate.
Okay, we're just heading there. Okay, go ahead. You're up on alternatives.
So I was thinking, and I think that the health department would most likely agree with something of this nature. The kids are the ones that are most excited about the Santa Claus parade. And schools, if they're not shut down, currently are allowed to have X number of children outside at one time. And I think that we might be able to consider a smaller parade system where we just have Santa come and Santa drives by the school when they're out on recess. That way we don't have to worry about things in terms of numbers and spacing, because that will be done by the school. We could work with them in a partnership, and we could drive by each of the schools at a particular recess time, just to give them some sort of, Christmas spirit. I think that's something that the health department would say yes to. It's not something that would be a parade, and it would be specific for the school. So it wouldn't be a full community invite, but it definitely would be for the children when they're on the recess. And I think that might be something that we could ask about.
Yes, it is. I got that down. Any other suggestions before I speak? Okay, I made some phone calls to Crammy and to Trent Hills, what they did last year. Last year, they had floats set up and people drove by them. And that seemed to go over very well. The only problem they had was they were overwhelmed by the amount of cars they had. I spoke to the lady I work with who looks after their Santa Claus parade, Jessica Root, and she said they were going from 7 till 9, and they started shortly after 6:30, and they were still going close to 10 o'clock. Downtown Warkworth with gridlock, and they have a feeling that council may have a chat with them about it before they start again this year. I thought that was a good idea. Also, Amy, from last year, we had did decorating contest, and people won prizes. So we had the rural and the urban. That's something else we could look at doing as well. So we have 2 suggestions out there, one to drive by the school. The only concern with the drive by school, Amy, is we thought about putting Santa in the back of a sleigh in the back of a trailer and drive around. We cannot do that because it's against the law. And unless we close the street down, we cannot do that. We thought about it. We wanted to do it. We thought about how we could do it without breaking the law. So it just worked out we couldn't.
I was maybe thinking a fire truck. If
You can have a fire truck, you can have a personal truck. It doesn't matter. You can't be on the road with somebody in a trailer.
No, not having Santa in his sleigh, having him be a guest on a fire truck, doing it with maybe with the firefighters. So that way we can get around closing of roads.
So you're thinking
simplify it
inside the cab?
Yeah. And then, the fire truck could stop. He could get out and say hello, wave to all the kids. We could launch the contest for the decorating, same time with the media, offer a coloring contest for the kids at that time, where the kids would go back inside and get a particular coloring sheet that Santa left for them for a contest. Just ways around it so that it's simplified, so that I understand that roads need to be closed for a big sleigh and that sort of stuff. But if we sort of reframed it to be a bit simpler, Santa has magic, right? I'm just thinking my kids might be watching this, and he really loves the firefighters. So there might be that we have the chief here, so, or maybe he might want to speak to that, but I think it might be something that could be done that doesn't involve a lot of extra hassles like road closures and stuff, which costs money in the budget.
Okay, go ahead, chief.
Yes, thank you. That's a great idea. I mean, we tried to do that last year and we got shut down because of where we wanted to put Santa in the back. Again, with the kids, it's a great thing. We get into the problem again of spacing, and we bring Santa Claus out, he's gonna get mobbed. So I think that the spacing would be a very large issue with that one, especially with the kids. I mean, they just want to get close to Santa, get close to the trucks, and we start getting into very close proximity to each other. I'm not sure if that would be a wise idea, is to have Santa go out of the truck. If we can form the kids up on across the sidewalk or whatever on a line type thing, well spaced, and then drive by, that would be a good way of doing it. But keeping them outside the truck, I have my druthers on that one, just from a COVID perspective. Sorry. The other thing that Lloyd had talked about earlier, we chatted earlier about this, is if we had the floats parked, excuse me, on Loyalist and Applewood Drive and Craig Boulevard, and then we had people just come in Loyalist and just drive around there at nighttime, and everybody just like a big circle route and then head back out. Everybody could see the floats and they just drive by the floats themselves, and people just be static display instead of moving. And as the vehicles and minivans and whatever drive around, they could see all the floats parked there. They could drive by at a slow rate of speed. And then everybody, it'd be in the industrial park. So during the evening, you wouldn't see too many people using the business park except for the parade people. So that's a pretty exciting idea. At least we can get Santa Claus out there and people drive by in their own personal vehicles. It's a great idea. Instead of the gridlock type thing that closes downtown.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Workworth did.
And maybe the night that we have it, if there's businesses that are still open in the downtown, if they're staying open late, we can have it where as you're driving in, you get something where you can go back to one of those businesses. Like maybe we could do some sort of partnership, because I know part of the reason of putting it through the downtown is to ensure that we're supporting those downtown businesses. And people can see the stores and stuff there. So if we could think about a way, if we're going to do it down in the industrial park, where we could have some sort of take back to some of the businesses there, I think that would be good. Like maybe starting their Christmas shopping. I'm not exactly sure what we can do, but just thinking about how we can connect back into the downtown businesses where it doesn't affect that day, but it gets them back there another day and helps those businesses that are currently down there.
That's a great point. Go ahead, Councillor Rowley.
Thank you. Amy, I also sit on the DBIA, and so we partner, or we have for several years, in the last year especially too, with the decorating your home and submitting a photo and getting your name into an random draw, where the DBIA also sponsors half of the Visa cards with a piece of promotion to so that those who receive these cards, they get the idea that they're from the downtown, with the invitation to hopefully that these people will spend their Visa cards in the downtown of Brighton. So yeah, so the last few years, that's what we've done. We've shared with community events, paying for those Visa cards, so that yeah, so that we can help promote the business that are on Main Street.
Okay, so what does the committee think about having some floats and doing the drive-by?
Will this not result in, my understanding is that this would happen away from
Pull it down.
the main street. And for example, at Loyalist Parkway, but would that not result in a huge lineup of traffic coming in and out of the float area or the demonstration area? I can see if I was stuck in that thing for an hour and a half, there's going to be a ton of traffic. I don't know how you'd avoid that.
So I did speak to the chief today about that because I had concerns when I was gonna bring it up. We talked about where they could park. We talked about where the vehicles were coming in. We also figure if emergency vehicle had to get in there, there's a couple ways of getting into that area. And as has been mentioned, once you go past a few homes, pretty much all the businesses will be closed. So there won't be a lot of traffic in that area. And we would probably recommend that we put an OPP officer out on Prince Edward Street where Loyalist is, and perhaps put some firefighters at the corners and help direct traffic and keep it moving along. We would have to space the floats out. The other thing is we would have to ensure we had enough floats to make it worthwhile. We're only going to have 4 or 5 or so. I don't think it's worthwhile. We would have to reach out and try and get at least, I don't know, into the double digits. I know the 2 ladies that looked after it before had all the names of the floats and stuff. Phil, were you able to contact Sherry about that?
Yeah, I sent an email to Sherry, just awaiting her reply,
Okay.
and we can get all the logistical info from that. Regarding the plan that the chief and yourself came up with, or the discussion that you came up with, the alternative, wouldn't be a problem with traffic. I don't think you could cone it off. You'd have one-way traffic going in and around, and they could go out Applewood or come back the way they, so we could put piles of cars in there. You could have 100 cars in there easily. You could have both lanes used up for the ins and one for the out. It wouldn't be a problem at all.
Yeah.
I'm sure the chief is well aware of that, and he knows how to set things up. And the town would set up pylons, we'd be all set. And that's a great location.
We wouldn't really be wanting a road closure, but
Just for
partial
industrial
road
park.
closure or something like that, or
Yeah, you'd have to close Loyalist and Applewood, and
is that something we'd have to contact OPP or Public Works do
no,
that?
Public Works should be able to do that on our
Yeah.
behalf.
Okay.
That would, I think that'd work well. There's no businesses open after 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
OPP and the fire department need to be notified, right? There's a road closure application.
Yeah,
So-
I think,
And Public Works would sign off on that. So it's a simple form to fill in. I've already
Yeah.
done 2 or 3 this year for other events,
Okay.
right,
Yeah.
chief? So I would certainly look after that if we picked a date and a time. I wouldn't have any issue getting that.
And can I ask if we, like, the businesses, I know they're more industrial businesses down there, but maybe we could, like, have we reached out to them to see whether or not they wanted to add some Christmas spirit to their buildings, whether or not they want to contribute to this at all? You know, when we do, if we're going to do something that people can take home, it could have information about some of those businesses so that people know that it's down there. A lot of people sometimes don't go down to the industrial parks unless they need to, and then realize that there is actually businesses down there that they can, that you know, some people don't go down unless they have to. So I think that if we're going to do this, contacting those businesses, having them part of the partnership, seeing if they could be part of decorating, and or you know, even contributing to the budget. Maybe some of them might want to be a sponsor.
That's an excellent idea. I was thinking of forming maybe a subcommittee or a couple people to go down and have a chat with them and go over it, because they may want to just put a float out by the roadway where they are. And like you say, decorate their building and stuff. They may bring in employees just to be there for that evening. And also, as Councillor Riley said, she's on the DBIA committee. We could let them know what we're doing, and Uptown could, if they wanted to extend their hours, like you mentioned, to come back and shop there, and they could decorate as well. At this point, I don't see any expense other than having Santa Claus come. Normally, our expenses are bands. And having said that, would it be appropriate, maybe what Phil said, get the, what's his name? Band, citizen band, maybe on a float, a few of them, if they can. again, they'd have to be spaced out. And it would be kind of nice if, I know some of the floats may have Christmas music playing, but it would be kind of nice to have a citizen band or something playing as well. Because we kind of want to do this nice. We're going to put a lot of work into it. We want to make sure it's going to go over well. But is everybody thinking the same way on this? Yeah. Okay.
I was just gonna add something to it. I would reach out and not, because I live right there in the corner and all the houses that are right there, they're
Send a
also
letter.
the business owners of the people in there, whether it's Nathan, Jocelyn from First Place Trailers and stuff. I don't mind being added to the subcommittee because I know them all as friends. They would definitely want to be notified.
Yeah.
Not just from a business standpoint, but from a personal standpoint. And we'd definitely have to loop Public Works in because Preston would have to loop in the county because Prince Edward Street being a county road, they'd want to know that we're bogging that down and slowing it up. And I don't even know if Preston would have to loop in CN and CP because the trains aren't going to stop because of us. So there will be at any given time a huge bottleneck there that will impact you guys for your fire call. So south of the tracks too.
Yes, there will be impact, I believe, coming from the north and the south. But like I said, the chief and I thought about it. And that seems to be the best solution without bottlenecking our uptown here. You know, unless someone else has got a suggestion where we could do it.
I'm not a suggestion on where we could do it, but we could have a simple registration through the website and have blocks of time so that we control how many cars are going down at any given time. It could be done through the website, a simple form to sign up. And once you hit the number of cars for that hour, that 15, 20, however long we decide it's going to be, that way people, and we do it as part of a promotion for it, as part of we can put it in the newspaper, we can make sure people are aware of it. And then that way we might be able to bypass the bottleneck by allowing people to register early and spacing out the timing of it for the cars.
I just don't know how that would work because if you got people pulling in, I understand what you're saying, but it's something to think about. I don't know if it would work or not here. So
Hey Lloyd, what would be a tentative date? I know that's jumping ahead, but that would,
that's what I'm bringing up right
because
now.
it'll really impact on how busy that road is.
So normally, our Santa Claus parade is the third Friday in November, and it's November 19th. Do we want to pursue that date? Or do we want to go on a Saturday, the 20th, or another time? Go ahead, Emily.
Are you still thinking of doing an evening,
Yes,
not an afternoon thing, right? An
evening, yeah. I did talk to Ed and Amy. Ed is our Santa. He is available on the 19th, but he's not available on the 20th. He did give me some other dates, but I'm not sure what other municipalities, when they're doing theirs at this point.
What kind of start time are you looking at?
I would suggest 7 to 9, from what I've heard from the last 3 people, seems to be plugged pretty good. Would it be feasible to go 6 till 9?
Businesses are cleared out though. by
The only
7.
thing I would add is maybe get Preston or somebody to loop in, because the only thing that really runs after 6 o'clock living there is you'd want to double back with the Miller waste collection, because they run 5 days a week, and then depending on whether they're behind, you might still have some waste trucks. So if we pick that date, somebody needs to reach out to them to find out when their last truck drops are, because they all go down in there
Yes.
5 days a week.
We can start at 7. And then 2 hours, you can put a lot of cars through there in 2 hours.
I still like doing it the Friday night. I still like doing it in November because we kind of get ahead of everybody else booking. If we're going to have float participants, right? They get booked up well into December. And if you're going to get, some of them doubling up, you're not going to get, we might not get any in anyway, but I'm
Yeah.
just saying, if we leave it too much long, we've had that trouble before where some are like, well, I'd like to come to yours, but I'm already booked to go somewhere else, right? So
We are, I believe, the first parade at night. So,
And workhorse the last, usually.
yeah, they're the last one,
December.
first one in December. First Saturday, is it Saturday or Sunday? I don't know, or Friday. Anyways. So it looks like we would like to do this on November the 19th. We just need to get some floats.
Hey, Lloyd. I was just gonna add, I think Friday's the best day as well because Saturday hockey is fired up and it's gonna be in full swing. So if you want to get the kids,
Yeah.
they're gonna be busy on Saturdays. And for Friday, I think 7 o'clock is the best time because then you free up. You don't have to worry about the Miller waste collection, but you also have to give time for anybody that wants to put a float into it to have at least a couple hours. If you go 6 o'clock, you might limit the number of people that can decorate their floats, including the businesses you want to reach out to.
Yep. Okay. So it comes back to you, Phil, to see what information you can get.
Yeah, as soon as I get the list from Sherry, I'll do some calling and see if folks are interested, and second of all, if they can make it.
So why don't we tentatively say that we're going to do this pending on how many floats we can get? And then after our next meeting, hopefully it's a go with enough floats, then we can go ahead and start talking to the business people down there and getting it in the paper and start moving ahead on it. At this point, we're just planning. Go ahead.
Sorry, if you're looking to move forward with it, you may want to recommend to council that they support. And I can put that in the minutes and we can put it before council. But if you're still planning, so you kind of got to let me know which way you're going.
Could
So
could we not approve the date today, which everyone has agreed upon? Put that forward as the motion and then have it so that people with a clause that people come back on some of the specifics that we're waiting on. So that way, at least we secure the date.
the only problem is our minutes will not go to council until after our next meeting. Because we have to approve them.
We can put draft minutes in front of council.
Okay. Okay,
Emily, could we, during announcements, put a motion on the floor to approve the date on council this coming Monday? Before the minutes? We can ask.
Sorry, just so that I'm just new to this, I haven't fully read through the procedural bylaws. So for any of the citizen committees, a motion goes forward, then has to be approved in the minutes before it can be recommended to council. So it takes a minimum of,
That's how we roll here, Amy.
okay,
Jessica just said, I think we can, Mark, if Jessica can get the draft minutes in the first meeting in October, which will be before we meet, then we can have that discussion based on those draft minutes.
That meeting's October 4th, so that's plenty of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that would be good, Mark. I think that'd be good. You and I could talk about it.
so you want to read that back to us? What would you like to see us pass?
Sorry, Emily, so your suggestion is you're going to meet again and then put that to council? Did I understand you right, Emily? sorry, was your suggestion that you guys will meet again and come with a more solid plan and then put that to council?
I would suggest that we put these draft minutes in the October 4th council meeting with
Okay.
the recommendation that this committee wants to set aside November the 19th
Okay,
for Santa Claus parade, providing or just details to follow based on protocols and participation, right?
Yeah.
We should know a little bit more. Then we meet the next, our committee will meet the next week.
Okay.
So then we can kind of detail it out then. And as those meetings go forward, our council meetings go forward, Councillor Bateman and I we can just keep bringing updates, Mark, and we can bring that through announcements as well. But I think we need to secure the date, as
Okay.
Amy said. So just send the draft minutes for October 2. And if it's incorrect, well, Mark and I can ask for forgiveness.
okay. So Lloyd, for that to go, you'll need a mover and a seconder.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh, go ahead, Phil. Okay, Phil, move that.
I just had another point. So if this goes through on October 19th, we're gonna need either this committee or a group of volunteers, because even though it's a drive-by, I can guarantee you're gonna have walkthroughs as well because of the location. So we're gonna need volunteers to ensure that people are following the spacing protocol. So I live right there, so I'll be down there to volunteer as one of the people to ensure that people are spacing, but
I believe the fire chief may have some volunteers that
Be
may
gentle.
be helping out. We kind of talked about 8 or so at this point. But I think if we had some at the entrance with the OPP and try to just remind them social distancing, because we can't stop them.
Yeah, if we do the advertising that all social protocols should be in place prior to this event and during the event, then
Yeah.
it'll be a lot easier task.
Go ahead, Phil.
I think because of the timelines involved, you're going to be requiring a paid duty. In the OPP, it won't be a on gratis deal because it's not over in 45 minutes. It's going to be hours. So you'll have a paid duty, so you'll be paying $500 or $600, I would think.
Okay,
Would that come out of our budget then, or does that come out of our general municipal budget? Because
No, come out
I'm,
of this, well, this committee's budget. Yeah, because when they do a typical parade, it's over in 40 minutes. This is going to be several hours. So it
you'll
won't
be
be
looking,
coming off detachment strength.
well, that's okay. We would just have to include
Yep,
that.
it's
in-
just
in
something else.
the Bottom line,
Yeah,
right?
it's not a problem.
is this something we need to contact them sooner than later, or can we contact
There's
them
no
after next?
Huge
meeting?
urgency. As long as
Okay.
they get a month, I'd say.
Yeah.
Hey, look,
Okay.
on the volunteers, I'm suggesting a handful over and above them, because if you get a call, our volunteers are gone.
Correct. Yeah, we're looking at even staging an apparatus on the south side somewhere behind that, so we don't get caught up in the bottleneck. And then, yeah, so that would be our immediate crew, and then whatever extra we'll need for the
Off of this committee.
inside. Correct. And yeah, if we can use any of the committee members as well, we'll have vests for everybody.
This being an outdoor event, people walking through, therefore the vaccine passports don't come into play.
Correct. But they still have to be masked and spacing.
Yeah. Okay, let's go back to that motion.
yeah, so I
Recommendation,
had Phil moving, and then you would need a seconder.
we need a seconder. Emily Rowley. All in favor? Passed. So could I have you just read back exactly what that said?
Being new, I don't have exact wording. I
Okay.
have some very
Okay.
scribbled notes that I
Okay.
will talk to Tom about, and he can teach me
Fair
how to
enough.
better word it.
Okay, we understand. And then, so the two counselors will be talking about the next meeting or October meeting? Okay. October 4th. Okay,
Yeah, we're supposed to do this on, we'll discuss it at our October 4th meeting. We can discuss it, Mark, during announcements, or we can discuss it as it comes up in the agenda.
right. So at the next meeting, we can secure more volunteers. Usually our committee members will be present, and we have vests for that as well. And I will get a hold of Ed, secure him as well. And we can use my Santa sleigh. And I thought we could use the fire department's trailer and with their fire truck for Ed, and then put a couple of 3 deer on it. He informed me today he's got lots of generators. So that will run that. So,
Like
okay,
for any volunteers off the committee, they're more than welcome. You can use my driveway as your point, so you don't have to leave your car out in the road because I'm right
okay.
at the end.
Okay, so is there anything else for 7.3? Okay, we'll move on. Correspondence, I have none. Next, okay, go ahead.
Thank you. Or just a request from what is our Apple Fest committee this year, next Saturday. We are hopefully, the Lions Club and the Kin Club are hosting a pancake breakfast and barbecue. We might need 1 or 2 extra volunteers to help out again with the count as far as making sure that we stay under 100 in the area where people are eating. We have an entrance and an exit, but I was just wondering if any of our committee members might be available. If I need to make a call just to see. We have our Apple Fest committee is like this committee. It's quite small. And so once again, it's like herding cats. We want to make sure that we follow all the protocols. So we might need 1 or 2 volunteers if we don't get enough. I'll call Counselor Bateman for sure. He said he's free. It would be, the hours would be between like 9 and 3. Doesn't mean you need to stay the whole time, but if we could get an hour or 2 to shift off 1 or 2 people.
I would suggest to, when the time comes, maybe let Jessica know and she could fire off an email to everyone, then everyone could respond back if that's all right with you, or to whoever.
Okay, we meet tomorrow night, or
Yeah,
our committee's meeting tomorrow night, so I might have a better idea as
okay.
to how many of our own
And
committee
then-
members can be there and how many are required. So I might just get back to you by the end of the week.
Yep, that sounds good. Okay, anything else under correspondence? Go ahead.
It's not under correspondence, like I should have mentioned it when you were talking about the parade. When we get to that point that you know you're going to do it, and if you do want to have a band, because you mentioned somebody playing music, one of my neighbors across the street that will be impacted, that will end up having to say he has a band and he's played at Apple Fest, he's played at Art on Main, and the last 2 Canada Day, he sets up for us in the neighborhood and plays, and we listen to him. So
Perfect.
he would probably be more than happy if, you know, you give me the go ahead when we're ready to go, and I can reach out to him and see if his band's willing to play right on their front lawn. So
Right
you'll
on the
have
front
music
lawn,
going.
yeah. Okay. Okay, I'm just looking up the date here for the next meeting. That would be the 19th then, right? Yeah, the 3rd Tuesday or the 2nd? Be the 3rd. 2nd Tuesday, October 12th. 4:30. Yeah,
We are on the 4th and the 12th. I think earlier might be better if you're going to have time to, because the parade, we're in November, the parade, right? Okay. Yeah.
yeah.
No, but I'm going with Ron here. Why don't we do October 6th? Right after your council meeting. You said you were meeting on the 4th, right? Then yeah, the 5th or the 6th.
I can't be here on the 5th.
Yeah, we have council on the 12th, the 18th, and the 4th.
Lloyd has a birthday. Big one. Yeah. We can do the 5th. Want to do the 5th? That's, it doesn't matter. Because we do it at 4:30, we'll be done by 6, so. There we go. So everyone good for October 5th, 4:30? Okay, thumbs up, yep. Okay, next meeting, October 5th, 4:30, council chambers.
Will that also be via Zoom?
It'll be it'll be a question mark for now. I'll have to talk
Okay.
to Candace with the new protocols with the vaccine passport things. I don't know what our protocol will be yet.
Okay, if there's any new protocols and we'll be informed of the new protocols and we'll go from there. It'll be a Zoom as well.
It'll either be like this or strictly Zoom, depending on,
Okay,
again, I don't know what the protocols will be just yet.
okay. So we need someone to adjourn. Murray Crapper, thank you. Do we need a seconder for that? Seconder? Phil? Thanks, everyone. See you October 5th.